Let's move on to another issue, and it riles me up when I read this one this morning. Student teachers, well, they're petitioning for compulsory literacy and numeracy tests to be scrapped because the pass rate has declined, i.e. it's harder to pass the test. Now, students are required at the end of their degrees to pass what's called the land-tight testing, which stands for Literacy and Numeracy Test for initial teacher education prior to graduation and before they can register for employment as a teacher. Blaise Joseph is a research fellow in education policy at the Centre for Independent Studies. He joins me now from Sydney. Blaise, I can't bear acronyms. Tell us a little bit about this land-tight test. Literacy, numeracy, what's the test entail?
Well, basically, it ensures that new teachers have essential literacy and numeracy skills. So the background is Australia's literacy and numeracy results have been declining. So students don't have the literacy and numeracy skills they need. They can't read properly. They can't do basic maths for a lot of them. And that means that it's really important that teachers actually have those literacy and numeracy skills themselves. And unfortunately, a lot of the universities let in prospective new teachers who don't have those skills. And so one of the great achievements of the Abbott government back in 2015 was to bring in this new test to ensure that no teacher can graduate a teacher education program if they don't have basic literacy and numeracy skills themselves.
And the problem is, of course, that so many of them fail the test, and now on the back of COVID-19, that catch-all excuse, they want the test scrapped.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. There's plenty of time for them to do the test in the next two windows, which are in August and November. The truth is about 10% of prospective new teachers fail this test, which is a bit ridiculous, right? You sort of wonder why do teacher education programs let these people into their programs, into their degrees, if they don't actually have those necessary literacy and numeracy skills in the first place. So it really makes no sense. Universities should be ensuring that any prospective new teacher has those essential skills before they even enter the degree. But this test is necessary because to stop those teachers from going through the gaps and coming out and teaching students when they have no idea themselves, because that just creates a cycle of disadvantage and a cycle of lack of basic skills.
You almost think you need a test going into teaching so that universities can't be just craving about the dollar and take any student, even if they've failed Year 12, into a teaching course, and then you need this test at the other end. I mean, last year, Australian students recorded the worst ever results in global testing. Now, this is my notes, but this is what we've looked up today. You know, students, if you compare Australian students with Singapore, our students are 3 years behind their counterparts in maths, a year and 3 months behind in reading, and a year and 9 months behind in scientific literacy. Why dumb down the tests if that's the sort of result we want? We need these tests, don't we?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Peter. And let's not forget about 20% of Australian students are below the international minimum standards for literacy and numeracy. And to make matters worse, we've had a massive increase in taxpayer funding for schools over the past 10 years. We've actually gone backwards in literacy and numeracy results. So that just goes to show that reforms like this, ensuring that new teachers actually have basic literacy and numeracy skills themselves, are really important. And it's a relatively new test, so it's only been going for just over 3 years now. It's going to take some time before the positive benefit of that is seen, but I think it's absolutely essential that these new teachers, the new people going into the classrooms, are actually smart themselves, actually know how to do maths and reading themselves, and then that allows them to pass on those essential skills to students. You
gotta wonder why it's all so hard sometimes. Blaise Joseph, thanks for your time. Well,